In this video, we're working on this Yamaha RD350. Now, I got this from some old lady, and the story behind it is she got it at some swap meet, and she rode it for a couple summers, and then she let it sit one winter and couldn't get it started. Now, she knew that these engines could get stuck, and every once in a while she'd go out to her shed and turn the engine over, and it's been sitting in her shed for 15 years. And in this video, we're gonna get this bike running. This is a pretty nice bike. There's very little rust on everything. Now I see that this one fork here is it's painted and that one isn't, so I don't know what's going on there. But this is pretty nice. There's a couple dents, like here in the tank there's a dent, some surface rust. But otherwise, this is pretty nice. This is the all original paint, original seat cover and all that. Yeah. When you turn it over, it has good compression. And this thing has just a little bit over 10,000 miles on it. Now I already took a peek in the tank, but the tank is not great. I don't know how well you could see it in there, but someone did a coating on there, and that coating is starting to peel off. And it's gonna be hard to see for you guys, but so that's gonna have to be addressed. But it's all complete. Now, other than that fork, the only other thing I saw was this is not an original petcock, and someone has a fuel filter on there. So that's going to have to be addressed. But the first thing is going to be taking these carbs off and seeing if they need to be cleaned, and if so, then clean them. Alright, so like I said, first thing is we clean these carbs. Now the only thing this is missing is does not have the seat pins for it. So I'll have to get some of those for this. But this tank is pretty nice otherwise than that coating. I already see something that someone messed with. These coils here. These are not the original coils for this bike. I wonder if there's something going on there. start with seeing if these rubber boots will move. Alright, taking these carbs off now. Looks pretty good. There's no corrosion on that, which is good. See if these come loose. Let's see how hard this is. This is either going to be easy or difficult. Oh, little oil line just popped out there. That wasn't too bad. They're not that hard. Actually pretty squishy still. Alright. Start cleaning these carbs. First I want to see how these bowls look. How good they are. Set those aside. Let's take a look here. It's pretty dirty, but it's not the worst I've seen. There's no corrosion. The floats move up and down. What I usually start with here, with these bowls, is I fill them with a little bit with brake clean. Then I take a toothbrush here and I just scrub that until I get as much as I can off with the brush. Then I see what's left after that. Alright, so this is what I'm left with the first cleaning. Now I'm just going to fill this and let it soak while we're cleaning the rest of the carburetor. Alright, now I'm going to start with this carburetor. I'm going to take the pilot jet out first. That's not clogged. It might be hard for you to see, but you can see light through it. And what I do with these jets is I have this kit with like brushes and thin pieces of steel that I use to clean out stuff like this. So I like put it in there some, put some brake clean on it, like move it around a bunch. Especially in these holes here in the side. Take that like that. Just move it up and down a bunch of times. Take any dirt in there that you can't see. Do it for all of them. Now sometimes you can get one that's small enough just to fit in there, but I don't have one that's small enough for this bike. And the last step is I spray it out with some brake clean. Like that. And now I'm going to do this. Take out this little piece here, this pin here, this pivot. This one seems to be a little stuck. I'm going to just warm that up a little. Take this gasket out, this float ball gasket here. I'm going to just warm that up a little bit and put some penetrating spray on it. I'm just going to warm this up a little bit. Just enough. Alright, let's see if that'll come out now. It's not just going to come out. Sometimes you can carefully take this, your pick, and hold it over that and use something else to lightly tap it out. Well, it might be hard for you to see, but just lightly with the screwdriver. I'm using a screwdriver on this pick. It just popped there. There we go. Now I can clean all this. Somebody has bent that little tab on the float there. Wonder what's going on with that. I'll have to look at that. But for now, I'm going to take this main jet out. Take a look at that. You can see through this one too. But I'm going to take my little wire here, just put it in there, and like go around each side, get any little things out, then spray it like that. That's clean now. I'm gonna do the same process I did in the bowl, but work on this now. Alright, I'm gonna clean these up. Just spray them with some brake clean and wipe them with the rag. That cleaned up pretty nice. That's just some staining on there. Do the same thing to the other one now. Alright, put these back in here. Like this, make sure the pins are on the bottom. Now let's take a look at, see why this is bent here. See, that's bent up, that tab. I don't see any reason why it should be like that, because they're both at the same height in there. Clean this up. Okay, so this here, this little tang in the middle, that touches the needle in there, sits like this. I guess that bent part, it doesn't really matter, because the floats touch out here. You can see there's a little witness mark right there. Right there, right, it's right in the middle, so that little bent tab is okay. I'm going to clean off this needle. Just use this rag here. Make sure that tip is nice and shiny. You don't see any dirt on it. Drop that in there. Put this piece back in with the witness mark touching. There's a witness mark on that side, so make sure that's touching our needle. What I'm doing here is I'm just tapping it in a little bit with this screwdriver handle, so it's not too aggressive. Alright, get that back in now. Put this gasket back. Gasket's pretty hard, so it's definitely gonna leak some. Might not immediately leak, but I'm gonna put my pilot jet back in now. Put that back in there, tighten it up. Put my main jet back in. snug it up. Make sure there's no dirt in there. Make sure there's no dirt in our float bowl. Put this back on. Gasket's not seated. There we go. Make sure that float bowl's all the way seated in there. And just put your screws back in and snug them up. Alright, tighten up the float bowl screws there. Now make sure this tip on this adjustment screw is clean. It's clean. I know it's hard for you to see, but now I'm going to thread that all the way back in and go out just over 1.5. So go out a little bit, half a turn, 1.5, right about there. That'll be plenty close enough to get it running. And just repeat the same process on the other carb now. Alright, now I'm ready to put this these carbs back on. See if this is going to be easy or difficult. Put it in the air box first. Oops. And turn it. This is always fun. There we go. Let's back up. top now. Push it in there. There we go. Snug this up. Alright, I'm gonna leave that side off till I get the airbox on. Till I get the other car back on. And this little notch here, I guess you can't see it. That always goes with the idle adjustment screw. You put that in backwards, you're not gonna have a good time. I'm going to leave this little oil line here that goes right into the carb. I'm going to leave that out, and I'm going to run it on premix until I see oil coming out of there. And then once I see oil coming out of there, I'll hook it back up. Alright, see if I can fish this in around all this stuff here. Around that fuel line there. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can get this under it here. Yeah, that's not the way to do it. Got that in there now. I should be able to push this back far enough to get this carb in here. There we go. Let it go sideways there. Okay. Let's see if I can hook up this hose here between the two carbs. Alright. Snug this up now. Okay, that on there. Yeah. Put this back on. Okay, same thing, make sure that little cutout there was the same side as the idle adjustment. Okay. Same thing, I'm gonna leave this oil thing out until I see oil come out of there. I'm gonna just run it on premix. Alright, next, I'm gonna take the plugs out, put a little bit of oil in there, and check for spark. Now this is a points engine, so this will probably have to be filed a little bit. Alright, take these plugs out now. They look like brand new. It's interesting. I'll take this other one out now. That one looks a little different. Alright, so I got a battery hooked up here, and the key was already on, but there's power up there. So let's see if I got anything down here. Any spark. Well, let me put some oil in those cylinders first. Put some PB Blaster in there to lubricate it. It's plenty. Alright. Let me set this up. Alright, let's see if we got the spark. That's it now. The kill switch is in run position, the key's on, so. Alright, take this cover off. The points are under here. Oh, good. Does not feel great. Ah, there we go. First thing I'm going to check is make sure I'm getting power down here first. So let me get a test light. Alright. Right off there we do have power on both sides. Side's a little loose. Let me tighten that up. Get some sandpaper. Plenty tight enough. Let's check that one. It's tight enough. Alright. Take a little piece of sandpaper here and just put it in there. pretty dirty. That looks good. Do this other one here. I have to turn the engine over a little bit. Alright, they're closed now. Open them up. That paper in there. Alright, let's check for spark. Turn the key on. Got good spark now. So if you guys can see that. There's a good spark. And put the plug back in. Alright, let's see if this will start. Let the float bowls fill up. Nope. This one's overflowing. Let's see if I can stop that. Alright. Put the choke on. See what it does. I need to put a hose clamp on this one hose. Let me do that before I leak all the fuel everywhere. Alright, I got that leak stopped. Now I have this premix here in this nurse tank. I'm going to turn the key on and see what happens when we kick it. Well, that was amazing. Water rev up. It's because the choke's on. It's gonna happen when I start it again. Try the choke. Won't idle. Let's see if I can warm it up though. not. There's something with this carb. Look, this one's like way in, and this one's out. So something's going on there. Where's oil pumping out of these hoses though? Pop those back in.
You sure you got good spark on both sides?
Let's check that right now. It's warm, but it's not hot. So something.
It's not running.
Oh shit. It's got spark. It's the adjustments with these carburetors, they're way different for some reason. Because that idle adjustment's way in and that one's not, so it's adjusted way wrong, I think.
Probably because they were trying to compensate for some kind of problem.
Yeah. So I gotta figure out how to adjust that. I'm gonna turn them all the way in and then count. I'll count this one because this one was right. So count the turns.
Well, that's just
It's the idle, but
right.
you gotta set them the same anyways. Half a turn, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3.
Are we talking about the mixture or the throttle slide?
The idle.
The throttle slide.
3. 1.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Same with this one, because they're way different. Half a turn, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Half a turn, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Let's see what that does now. Your adjustment could be way wrong. No, actually, no, I set the adjustment.
They're both the same.
They're both the same, so why is that different?
Check compression. On both cylinders.
Alright, this was only running on the one cylinder. So what did I ended up doing? Well, first actually, I switched the plugs around, make sure it wasn't that. It wasn't that. I switched the wires around, make sure it wasn't that. It wasn't that. So I took the carb back off, and I took the reeds off. You can see there, I could see they were wet in between each gasket. So I put just a little coat of RTV on there, and I took the carb back apart and blew through everything with the compressed air to make sure it was all clear. I put it back on, and then you see there, it runs really good now. So now I'm going to change this oil and see what that looks like. Actually looks pretty clean. When I fill the oil on stuff like this, I usually start with just a quart, and this the fill cap has a dipstick on it. So I start with a quart, let it sit for a minute, and then check it and see where it's at. That's overfull, but that's okay. It's just the transmission. It doesn't matter. Alright, so we're starting to work on this tank here. I have two dirt bike petcocks here. I got this one and this one, and I want to see if either one of them will work to replace this one. It's not right. Looks like I can get a screwdriver on this. look, are they too wide? Yeah, they're not gonna work. I'm gonna have to keep it this one, but for now, get that little piece off of there. Take this off, doesn't matter actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put small rocks in here and put it on a concrete mixer and spin it to get all of that coating that someone put on there that's peeling off out, and see if it leaks, and if it doesn't, I don't need to recoat it. So I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. Alright, let's got some stones from outside, and put it in here. I'm gonna come. Now let's put that petcock back in. So take that little filter piece off so it doesn't get all broken, and just put this back in for now. So just keep the stones in there. And I want to put some more stones in it too. Alright, that's good enough. Now, alright, so this is what I got here. I got the tank ratchet strapped in onto the drum of the cement mixer here. You have cardboard to protect the paint on the tank. And what the stones are going to do in there is they're going to slowly break up that coating that someone put in there. So anything that's flaking off or any little spots of rust, they're going to break off, and it should be pretty clean by the time it's done. I'm going to put this on here for an hour, then come check on it, and check on it every hour until I think it's okay. But I'll show you how this works here. Just plug it in. Just like that, and the rocks will slowly break up all the stuff in there. Alright, so I flipped this over the other way in the mixer and let it run for another couple hours, and I let it run for an hour in both directions for like about 4 on each side, like this and then like this. And now it's time to dump it out. going to be using some stainless steel and some metal polish and all the chrome to make it pop again and make it all shiny. Alright, so I got all the cleaning done, and what I ended up doing on the tank and side covers here is I wet sanded them to 800, and then you saw I buffed them, and with all the chrome and everything, I ended up doing even the rims and everything. What I ended up doing is after I steel wooled them with that metal polish, I put wax on everything, let it cure, and then wiped it all off. And it's pretty nice. It's all original. That one side cover is a little faded, but the pipes are nice. That original seat cover is pretty nice. And it's crazy that this thing has a little over 10,000 miles on it. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video, and see you on the next one.